Tigers looking to take the series today, 110 against the A's. We're hanging out at Shanty Creek where it's kind of gloomy. I think the weather's a little better in southeast Michigan. AJ, are you becoming a Doppler expert? I hope it's looking better down there.
You know, it looks good now. You learn to read your own radar, and then you debate it with like 5 other people. You call the league. And my favorite is when there are people outside of the area that are telling you what the weather is. Because you're like, no, they're saying it's not raining out. No, it is. I'm standing here in the rain. Like, I can tell you because I'm on property. So this rain has been brutal, but it's part of it in summer.
It is, and how do you handle it with the guys, with the players, especially the pitchers who they're amped up, they're ready to go, and we saw Scooble do it last week against the Pirates, where at some point, hey, you may actually have to start pitching in the rain. How do you prepare them mentally to attack that situation?
Yeah, it's hard because you make a judgment call around 6 o'clock for a 6:40, and because guys usually need about 40 minutes in their routine and get their warm-ups in. You want to be fair to the other team. So there's a cutoff about 6 o'clock if you're going to start on time. Once you go into a delay, that's when the dilemmas start, and that's what happened with the Scooble start a couple times ago. And you do have the league weighing in. You have both teams represented. We're all weather experts, and you're trying to hit a mark where, like, hey, it's not going to rain, and if it circles back and rains during the warm-up, that's when it's the worst. So yesterday was a good example. We almost delayed it at 6 o'clock. It never rained, but there were storms all around us. The lake always kind of tends to play some games with the weather pattern, and the key is to try to just communicate with our guys to make sure they know when the start time is. The minute you delay it, it's sort of dilemma for the position players and the pitchers. Like, do they just hang out and kind of stop their pregame routine, or do they continue? That's the dilemma competitively.
Good time to have you on. I like how this lined up. 81 games in, midpoint of the regular season. The way you guys finished last year, how strong you guys have been this season, people are wondering about World Series. I know you're a day-by-day guy, but how would you assess how you guys stack up at this midpoint? If you could try to zoom out for us. I know it's against your nature.
Yeah, I love the question that ends with it, but I'm going to ask you anyway. I am very, very proud of where we're at the midpoint of the season. It is funny to think of, but we feel like we've been playing forever, and we're just at the 82-game mark. So I can do 2 things. I definitely can be proud of how we've built the foundation of this season and the things that we're doing. We're going to have a ton of things to get better over the course of the next 81 games. But I think – when you go day by day, series by series, when you stack up against, we've seen the Cubs. I think is probably the best National League team that we've faced. We've still got the Phillies on the docket and the Mets. We're going to see the Giants are pretty good. Like, you start looking at the series you've won, the series you've lost. There's a lot more that we've won than we've lost. So I think we're in a good position to have a very special summer. We just have to do a lot of work to get there, and we'll see what the teams look like. Down the stretch, who stays healthy, how things change during the trade deadline. There's just a lot of moving parts to be this, predictor of the next 81 games. And there's too many variables, but we have a good team, and we have a winning team, and we have a team that I feel we can stack up against anybody. And that to me is a good start when you're trying to win big series.
First team to 50 wins. First team to 400 runs, run differential. Everything says that this team is operating at high efficiency. And then last night you have a game where there's only 4 hits. How do you get the guys to refocus, bounce back? What's the conversation to get the bats going on the day after where you only have 4 hits?
Yeah, you just play the game. I mean, listen, we're going to have, like, plenty of losing streaks. I mean, I'm not like I don't want to be on the negative side, but even if we have like a remarkable season, we're going to lose a lot more games between now and the end of the season. So you can't get too reactive to one game. I mean, Jacob Lopez was deceptive. We couldn't really pick it up. We didn't barrel him up very well. You move on to the next day, and today's outcome has nothing to do with whether we had 4 hits or 14 hits. I mean, we bounced back to try to win the series, which was the goal, and get the guys ready. We don't have to refocus because we're always focused. We're just always going to play the game that's in front of us, and it doesn't matter kind of what happened yesterday, good or bad. So we don't ride the roller coaster that I think a lot of fans have to, because that we have to get ready for the next day. And anything, you either adding something to your preparation or you're taking something away. And we're just always going to choose to reset and get to the next game. Doesn't mean we don't care. Doesn't mean we don't address like bad mistakes or things that we do wrong. But we have nothing to do with last night, rolling into today.
Wenceel Perez. Let's just talk about him for a second because, and obviously in the media, we're always talking about, hey, right-handed bat, are they going to add something at the trade deadline? That's not where I want to go with this, but how impactful has Wenceel Perez been at the plate? But also, we saw the two assists that he had in the same inning. That was, gosh, it was so much fun to hear Dan Dickerson and then to see it, on the TV. How impactful has Wenceel Perez been on both sides for your team?
I'm glad you brought him up because he is pretty understated and very underrated. I think if you look back now, like when we start looking at his time in the big leagues, number one, he's playing at a position that he never played until the upper levels of the minor leagues. He was always an infielder. We moved him to the outfield. He started, kind of dabbling in center field. Then we moved him over to right field, and he's become more and more comfortable. He looks like someone who has played outfield his whole life, which is great job of development by both our PD people and our outfield coaches here in the big leagues. The other part is like he hit in like the 1 hole last year, hit in the 2 hole, he hit in the 3 hole. He hit kind of mid range of the order. He's been an instrumental part of the lineup construction that I've put out there. Because we really believe in the bat. We think he can move the ball forward. He puts the ball in play. He is a switch hitter who's predominantly been better left-handed. He's done some work on his right-handed swing, and we're seeing better production. So, he's not the name that everybody recognizes, or he's not the guy that everybody thinks is a key cog. But having a switch hitter who I can move up and down the lineup, and I can play in any outfield position, and the production that comes with it has been needed during this time where we've watched Riley Green go up and down. We've seen Kerry Carpenter have a good stretch and a bad stretch. Because everybody does. And you need somebody else to pick up the pieces when other guys are scuffling. And Wenceel's been that guy for us and is a huge part of how our lineup is tough to get through by the starter or the reliever.
Yeah, you mentioned a guy stepping up. I mean, Riley Green's put the team on his back in the month of June, helping pick up for some other guys who maybe aren't contributing right now. Torkelson for the month of June. Is this just a normal slump, or are you seeing anything that has you concerned? What would you make of Tork's month of June?
Yeah, he's had a tough month. I mean, it's, I've seen it with a couple guys that, as they get, they get, beat up a little bit, or if they start seeing some offers, they start to expand the strike zone a little bit. Tork's been okay with his swing decisions and his at-bats. But he hasn't really put it together for, those 8, 10, 12, 15 at-bat series, recently. But we're hoping that, I gave him a day off in Tampa. I ended up giving him a day off coming back here, just trying to reset him and get him back into the flow of like just contribute against the guys that you can. So he's back in there today in the 4 hole. We believe in him. We know he's good. And you got to ride some of these, peaks and valleys throughout the season. In a season where he's going to get 650 at bats or 600 at bats, these little 20, 30, 40, 50 at bat times are just part of the grind.
What are you seeing from or hearing about the rehab for Matt Vierling?
Vierling's been good. He feels about as good as he's felt through this whole stretch. He had a little bit of a scare when he came back the first time, and we got him checked out. Structurally, everything's fine. So we were able to do a little bit more strengthening and then get him out there. And then as soon as we got him in games, he got sick for about a 72-hour period. So we had to shut him down for the last few days, and then just got back in there. He'll be in there again. I think today, I think he's either playing or off, or tomorrow, one of the two he's playing, and we've got to make some decisions as we get to, series by series. But health-wise, he's throwing the ball well, which is key. He's also someone who is feeling physically like he's close. So that we should get him back at some time in the near future. It's just a matter of series by series, and once he's checked off a few boxes to have the confidence to go out and just play and not guard himself if he's got to make a throw from center or a throw from right or a throw from third. we've got to test it maybe a little bit more until we're ready.
Reese Olson last night pitched. Do you feel like he's ready now for a call-up?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him, but I haven't talked to him yet. I want to see him, and Fett's going to have him throw a bullpen in the next couple days. But on paper, he's done everything that we wanted. We wanted him to incorporate his changeup at a high level. I think he threw 17 of 74 pitches were changeups. That's a little bit more like what his normal game is. We need to talk to him and see him throw a little bit. But we're anticipating that the next thing for him is to come back into our rotation. But confirming it's premature until the next 4 or 5 days.
Talking to Tiger manager A.J. Hinch, playing the A's today at 110. Series against a team that drafted you. You spent time in California. As an insightful guy that you are, do you have any thoughts just on what's gone on with them moving out of Oakland and now the journey they are on right now?
Yeah, I've had to separate two things. And I was just talking to Mark Kotze, their manager, and I came up together and we played together as amateurs. And I want to separate the two topics, one being Oakland, which I'm incredibly bummed. I love Oakland. I loved playing there. There's a special fan base there. It's part of the history, certainly my history in the game. It sucks that there's not baseball in the Bay Area over on that side of the bridge. The other part is like Vegas will be cool. Like Vegas will be interesting. They're going to build a state-of-the-art stadium. It's a new fan base. You see other teams that have gone there and the love of sports and the transitional, kind of fan base. I mean, a ton of people come in and out of Vegas. It's going to be a very interesting place. So that's cool, while I'm still sad that Oakland doesn't have a team. So I think the A's are stuck. We're going to go to Sacramento. Ironically, I played in the first ever game in Sacramento when the AAA stadium was built in 2000, and that's a beautiful place as well. So I just wish that they hadn't had to leave Oakland, and maybe we could have expanded to Vegas, or you could get other ways to keep the A's in the Bay Area and create the buzz that's going on in Vegas the same.
Purely selfish question I want to end with. Any chance I get two CMU guys in the game today? I was there at Central when Dietrich Enns was pitching for the Chippewas. You got McKinstry playing today too?
We do. Yeah, we do have both. Yeah, just
Here
for
we
you.
go. Yes.
Yeah, just for you.
Thank you, AJ.
They'll be in there. No problem. I mean, you probably should have told me before I put the lineup out last night, but generally speaking, you're not one to tell me who to play, so I'll do anything for you right now.
Well, hey, fire up chips. And AJ, we always appreciate checking in with you.
You got it. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. He's Tiger manager AJ Hinch. It's 97.1.